This year, 15 children were born into homelessness. Homeless at birth. I'm pretty sure when James Connolly and the 1916 rebels walked into the GPO, his motivational speech didn't go anything like this. Do you know what, lads? Let's stand up against the empire. Yay! So that in 100 years, 4,000 kids can be homeless in one of the richest countries in the world. It took a revolution to achieve an independent Ireland, free from the British Empire. Although the Empire kept their claws on the north, it was only through the rebellion of 1916 and the subsequent War of Independence, with mass general strikes, protests and outright rebellion, that won any kind of freedom for the south of this country. But when James Connolly walked into the GPO and heard the proclamation being read out on the steps, and he heard the lines about cherishing all the children of this country equally, when he heard the line about the wealth of this country being held by the people of this country, it must have inspired him to keep fighting, because he was fighting for the vision of a society where no one went homeless, a society where the wealth of society was used for the good of society and the good of the people who produced that wealth, the working class. But instead the revolution was betrayed by the people who went on to found Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil. Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael are the descendants of those who betrayed the Irish Revolution, who united with the rich, the big landowners and the church to keep the working class down for 7 decades. Because Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael are servants of the rich. Because 50% of the TDs are millionaires. Because 30% of their TDs are landlords. Because Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael lie, cheat, steal and will do anything to keep the wealth of the 1% in the hands of the 1% and to sell this country out to vulture funds. And they've been able to do that because the Labour Party has never stood up for the working class. They've capitulated after every election to Fine Gael, become an appendage of one of the Tory parties, demoralising and degrading the working class movement, frustrating working class people. So not only have we a country that's been dominated by the descendants of the traitors to the revolution, but we have a Labour Party that doesn't even know what the word revolution means, and never did. The fact that 15 children were born into homelessness in a country that was revealed this week to be the country with the 5th highest concentration of super rich individuals. We come in just behind Singapore and Hong Kong for the amount of individuals who have over $30 million or 27 million euro. There are 2,000 people in this country with more than 27 million. And while Fine Gael are completely in touch with those kind of people, they're completely out of touch with us. Cherish all the children of this island equally. That's what the proclamation said. And yet 20% of the children in this country right now live in poverty. That's 230,000 kids, with 10% of the kids in this country living in consistent poverty, meaning that they routinely miss meals. This is not the Ireland that Connolly fought for. But if the political class are so detached from ordinary people, why aren't we standing up and pulling them down? Well, neoliberalism, the Thatcherite approach to the economy, has individualised people, and people's lives are so hard, the housing crisis is so hard, that people just keep their heads down and fight their own corner. But the problem is that while you keep your head down and think that that's the best solution for you and your family, things just get worse and worse and worse. Because you're leaving the likes of Leo Varadkar and the vulture funds and the big landlords and developers to continue taking money out of your pocket, taking land from the public and handing it to private developers. The fact that we have 2,000 people in this country with over 27 million is no coincidence that on the other end of the seesaw, we've got 10% of kids living in consistent poverty, 4,000 kids homeless, and 15 kids born into homelessness. But there's a lot of people who are aware of what traitorous thieves the politicians are. But they turn their back on politics and say, well, I'm not voting for any of them. But when the working class doesn't vote and the middle class and upper class do vote, you get the right-wing parties back in again. And then there's the trade unions, the organisations of Connolly and Larkin, supposed to be fighting organisations to defend the working class, both in the workplace and in our communities, to fight for the needs of the working class. But 30 years of trade union partnership with the bosses has hollowed out the trade unions. They're led by Labour Party hacks who won't stand up for working class people. We need a different kind of union movement. A union movement that goes back to the spirit of Connolly and Larkin and stands up and inspires the working class to fight back. But apathy, demoralisation and frustration, although understandable, will not get us out of the situation that we're in. We have to start fighting back.